Here we go. We're going to go around the world again. So, good morning, Dr. Rand. My name is Dr. Ahmed Hamed, Assistant Professor of Design at Ain Shams University in Egypt. I'm pleased to write to you. I was watching your videos on YouTube about GH versus test and using DECA/GH for healing injury. Please let me ask you a question. I have a pectoral muscle tear plus a front and a rear deltoid tear, a supraspinatus tear plus acromion damage. Acromion damage, sorry. All that happened to me from a bench press overweight without preparing well for it. I did 2 shoulder surgeries in Germany. The last one was from 7 months ago. Now I'm lifting weights again after asking my doctor, but the shape of the torn muscle in the shoulder that was injured is not big like the other shoulder. Also, the muscle strength in the shoulder is lower from the other one who hasn't been injured, obviously. I'm turning now for 4 months after the rehab and ultrasound, but the shape of the shoulder I did after surgery did not become better. Hold on. No, it became better, but still not as big as the other shoulder. So the shape improved, but I guess it's still not the same size, well, I'm sure. My question now, how is the shape of both shoulder become the same? Is it naturally going to go back this way? And number 2, if I use steroids, would it make the result faster and safer for me to regain the size of the shoulder that's been injured? What would be the best steps for that to happen and to improve the shape and the strength of the shoulder damaged? From Dr. Ahmed Mustafa.
That was a big question. Not so easy as the first one. If you had a complete tear, then presumably they've sewn it back together, and you may have more of a chance at returning the shoulder to its original look, certainly not its original state, but closer to it than if you had a partial tear. Because I think in some ways, contrary to popular belief, once you tear a muscle, if you got a partial tear, you've torn those fibers, they're not going to reconnect. They never reconnect unless you surgically try to reconnect them. And by the way, the surgery is not that easy because it's kind of like sewing hamburger meat together with another piece of hamburger. It's not quite that bad, but certainly the more time you leave between the injury and the surgery, it becomes more like that. But it will not return to its original state if you've got some of these loose ends floating around. And oftentimes you don't make for a surgical repair with a partial tear because you don't need to. And why go for an invasive process where the function at least can be returned to normal, because the other strands, the other fibers will pick up the slack.
So you let it heal?
You let it heal. You really just sort of let these ends stop being inflamed and the area calm down, and then you strengthen the remainder of the fibers. You take the motor units and you make new ones, and you connect to the other fibers, and you regain your strength. So cosmetically, in that case, you would make a case for always repairing even a partial tear, because the more partial tears you have, the more the muscle has the tendency to look disfigured, certainly compared to the other side. So if that's the case, if he's got partial tears, depending on the degree of which they're partially torn, they'll never look the same. Now you can try and approximate them, though. How? By taking these fibers and not only making them stronger, but through hypertrophy, getting them to fill in the gap where these were torn, say, above. But again, the likelihood of symmetry is reduced significantly by the degree to which it's torn. And he's got multiple tears, so that might be an issue. Would anabolics help healing? Of course. I mean, anabolics are great for just that. It's about creation of new tissue. Anabolic steroids are wonderful for repairing muscle tissue. So that one's an easy one. But you also have to do it's not just about injecting anabolics and everything works. I mean, you have to choose your exercise as well. And I'll come back to that in a second. But obviously you have to eat right. So eat plenty of protein, and vitamin C is important. Those are the 2 basic components for collagen in helping to repair. And of course, sufficient calories in general whenever using an anabolic, or you're trying for an anabolic process, whether you're using the leverage of an anabolic steroid or not. And then proper rest. Because if all you do is train it, you're not going to let it rest. So the same rules in general apply, but a little bit more specifically to an injury, obviously. But it's still the same general rules. Now the exercises you choose are important too, obviously, because now more than ever you have to. I would assume you have an MRI both pre and prior to the accident. You can always observe from that and make deductions about where you might want to train harder to build those tissues again to approximate symmetry between the two. So you're going to choose your exercises carefully, right? I mean, this may sound
work around
particular,
it,
but it's
around
still,
it.
yeah, you have to work with what you got now. And okay, well, I've got, and you actually might have to consider to the detriment of the other side if you're working towards symmetry. So, I got more of a tear on the infraspinatus and the supraspinatus, so I just generally can't work my rear deltoid as well. So I'm going to work less on the one side and work harder on the other side to try and make up for the difference, to try and make for the symmetry. I mean, so that's just a simple, or maybe too Byzantine example of, choosing the exercises is very important too.
Yeah.
Is it safe? Absolutely, when done right, as anything else. If you're using an anabolic steroid, there are some that are better than others for the anabolism portion. You wouldn't want to necessarily take halotestin, for example, to get the anabolic effect he's looking for. You want something that has the greater anabolic effect without the androgenic effect. So you want to choose those carefully and also watch out for its conversion into estrogen. So that did I answer the?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Doc.